I'm Kim Tracy with the Maxwell James Speaker Agency. So excited to be back with Dr. T.C. North. We are continuing an exceptional series on how to build confidence. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. I love this series with you, Kim. and today is going to be a really awesome one. I'm so excited. This is pretty new research. Neuroscience can study the brain in ways that we haven't been able to. And today we're going to talk about how you change one word of your self-talk, and under stressful situations, it really changes your level of confidence and it changes your level of performance and outcomes.
So can you tell for the audience that's watching this, what did we discuss previously in the first video?
The first video was just a reminder that this is all around mindful power, and confidence is an important part of mindful power, which is the bigger topic. And this is the second in our series of confidence. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we left that one with is that you only have 100% control of two things, which is your thoughts and your actions. And so self-talk is a form of thought. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things you have 100% control of, but most of us don't control it. And the reality is no matter how good you get at controlling your self-talk, you'll never be perfect at it. It's a totally imperfect process, but you can make tremendous strides.
Excellent. So you're saying that today you just need one word to change to be your best under pressure. You know, people are like salivating right now, TC. They're like, give me the word.
Gotta build it up a little bit, Kim. Build it up a little bit.
He needs to tease you guys.
I was a scientist, remember? It's always the conclusions at the end, not a journalist that starts with it. I've had to learn to do that with my writing. So let's talk about how to talk to yourself and what is the one word or concept of a word phrase that you can change. So first of all, are you aware that you talk to yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you sometimes say pretty crazy things? You don't have to answer that.
I hope so.
We all talk to ourselves, and we talk to ourselves in our heads faster than we can actually talk like this. You know, when we talk like this with each other, it's give or take about 120 words per minute. But some people have estimated we can talk to ourselves as fast as 300, 400, maybe 500 words a minute. So every time, everything that goes through our head is literally we're programming our own subconscious, our conscious mind. And so learning to become aware of that and then learning to control it is really critical.
So I want you to give the viewers this quote from Psychology Today because I think it's really important.
All right. So in the May-June edition of Psychology Today, they said, inner talk is one of the most effective and least utilized tools available to master the psyche and foster life success. And I have to admit, they made a big deal out of this. And for the 30 years of my practice, people in my space have been doing this for that whole time. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I love Psychology Today. I read it religiously, and they're way behind the times on this. My gosh. But it is true. So I'm glad they're talking about it. But again, people in my space have been doing this for a long, long time. It's very powerful. And learning how to do it correctly is very powerful. And people don't really understand how to maximize the use of their own self-talk.
Okay. So we're talking about stressful situations. You know, I'm going to call it the TC tip line. What do we do?
So I'm gonna jump to the research to answer that question, if I may. A scientist by the name of Ethan Kross did MRI brain imaging studies to look at the difference of what part of your brain did you use when you talked with the first person. First person is an I statement. So if I'm under a stressful situation and I'm getting really nervous, if I say, I can do this, I'm ready, I'm prepared, I got this. That's all I statements, and that uses what's called the midbrain, which is where the emotional brain is, the limbic system, the amygdala, and that's the fear center. So when I'm using under stress, if I'm using I statements, I'm literally doing it out of the fearful part of my brain. If you switch, this is the one word switch from I to you or use your own name, you literally change which part of the brain you're using, and now you're using the cerebral cortex or even the prefrontal cortex, which is logical. It's not emotional. And that's the part of your brain you want to be in when you're under stress. You don't want to be in your emotional brain because that's what can get out of control. So to use that same example, if I'm feeling nervous, I'm about to go on stage, and I go, you got this, TC, you're prepared, you're ready, let's go. See, that's a whole different part. Now I'm up here in my brain rather than that midbrain.
Okay.
Just very different.
Okay. So, talk to me more about Krauss's research findings. First-person self-talk in stressful situations. What actually happens?
What happens, the result of what happens is people actually get anxious. They perform badly when they're talking under stress. Remember, this is under stress. This isn't normal stressful, but this is high stress situations. If you use the second person, your probability of success actually dramatically increases. The level of rumination and worry decreases. Your conscious awareness of yourself and all around you increases, which is fairly valuable. And it literally allows your brain to be at its best because it's got this higher functioning part of the brain involved.
So why? Enlighten me.
It literally is because the result is because you're using a different part of your brain.
Okay.
And you're using the logic, thought-centered part of your brain. This part up here, the more advanced part, you're not in that spiral of emotions.
It seems so logical, and yet I know people watching this video are going to have what I call I just had a V8 moment.
I'm not sure what that means, but that's okay.
You don't remember that commercial? It was like the beverage. I could have had a V8.
Oh, yeah. I had forgotten that.
Mm-hmm. It's because I'm older than you. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm only 33.
Well, you are. And I'm like 59. So,
Here's a reversal here.
So when is second person most effective or more effective?
It's under the most stressful, the most high pressure situations. It's probably not as important under normal circumstances. You can program your brain from the emotional brain and using I, and I doubt that matters very much. But you do want to use your thought brain, your cerebral cortex and your prefrontal cortex under stress so that you can stay in logic and not let yourself get into a spiral of emotion, which can usually do not so good things.
So talk to me about where can people find the studies if they wanted to read up more about this?
I would go directly to that Psychology Today 2015 May-June edition.
Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. And then what is your tip for today? I know people are like, all right, get to be the journalist. What's going on here?
Tip for today is next time you are under a lot of pressure, you're stressed, you're feeling nervous and or anxious, remember to speak to yourself like a great coach would.
Okay.
What would you want a coach to say to you? If you were a coach coaching somebody else and they were stressed and nervous and anxious, what would you say to them in that second person where you call yourself by name? So if I'm doing it for me, I'd go, TC, and then I finish that sentence, or you, and I finish that sentence rather than starting with I.
That is fantastic. If you are interested in bringing TC North in for one of his amazing keynotes or workshops, please contact me through maxwelljames.net. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Kim.